Happy Friday, everyone. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean. We're going to get started with our mind-body connection for today, which is, surprise, a yin yoga class. Going to focus on opening the hips. Highly recommend bringing some props, maybe some pillows, some cushions, whatever you've got, a block. We're going to get started in kneeling, unless that's super uncomfortable for you. And then find what feels right for you, because this is totally your practice. So whether you're here for 5 minutes or all 45 minutes together, I do appreciate you coming. If you've made it here early, take the time to just gently move around, get up away from your desk. Start noticing, exploring how your body is feeling today. Feel free to grab yourself some water. Make sure you're wearing something comfortable that you can move around in, and we're going to get started in 2 minutes. Uncle Buck. I don't know what you want from me right now, dude. Ooh. You okay, little buddy? I liked it when you were sitting over here. I did. Okay, everybody, it's that magical time. So let's go ahead and get started. We're starting in a kneeling position. If kneeling is uncomfortable for you, we're going to be here for 3 minutes, just starting with our breath. Highly recommend taking a prop and sitting yourself up on something, being a little bit or even a lot lifted. Opening your feet a little bit wider is going to help kneeling feel comfortable for you. Try to take that rounding out of your back and find some comfort by drawing your belly button in and a little tucking of your pelvis. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Just create a little bit of length. You don't have to overstrain in your length, because you can really sit those sit bones down on top of your prop. Relax your eyes, your breath, your body, and your mind. Throughout today's practice, you're looking to create a stretch that is noticeable. Your stretch might even be uncomfortable. Your stretch should not be painful. So if you're feeling any sharp shooting pains, I encourage you to come out of the posture a little bit. Find what does feel right for you today. It's also really normal if within your stillness you start to notice any sort of involuntary shaking, twitching, trembling. Staying here in longer holds just gives our body an opportunity to take our stretch a little bit deeper. We don't have any super long holds today. Longest hold's going to be 3 minutes, which is exactly what we're holding this opening posture for. Take your last couple of breaths. And then we're going to go for toe stretch. So you can bring your hands to the floor, tuck your toes under. Maybe you even lift your knee up and just press gently back onto your foot to start to create a stretch on the back of your toes. We're here for a total of 2 minutes. We're already in it. And you can come as deep as you want to be, but remember, we're working to find a stretch that's noticeable and sustainable. So perhaps you were able to sit yourself all the way up. Maybe you're really open, not feeling super open in the feet today. Just didn't want you to think that you had to stay down here as I'm doing. My glutes are nowhere near my block. I'm really just focusing on that stretch through the toes. If your eyes are open, find a place to relax your eyes. One more minute here. On your next exhale, go ahead, untuck your toes. Maybe even take a moment, tap your feet out. We're going to come into an ankle and a quad stretch. Move any blocks that are behind you. Once again, come into a kneeling position, but bring your hands behind you. And then see if you can lift those knees up off the mat. Toes are still pointing behind you. You can even find an extra stretch, squeezing your glutes, lifting your hips up to bring a stretch not just to the ankles but to the quads. It's okay if you can barely lift those knees up. It's okay if you keep those knees on the floor and just focus on stretching, squeezing the glutes, finding that lift of the hips, getting the stretch in the quad. Find something, hang out here for the last 30 seconds of this stretch. On your exhale, release your legs back down towards the floor. Walk your hands in front of you. Tuck your toes under. Send your hips up towards the ceiling. Walk your feet forward towards your hands. You can shift the weight to your heels. We're coming into a dangle. And you can come into whatever depth of a dangle that works for you. I'm already pretty flexible, so it's easy for me to get my belly towards my thighs and relax my head down towards the floor. But a lot of you might find yourself just reaching towards the floor or nowhere near the floor. I want you to take any rounding out of your back, even if you place your hands on your thighs, so that you can draw your chest forward. And maybe you even use a block, or maybe you even use a stool in front of you to help you to work towards finding that big stretch along the back of your legs. You can bend your knees as generously as you need to, even using the tops of your thighs like a table. Allow your eye gaze to just gently be towards whatever your nose is pointing to. Take the wrinkles out of your neck. We've got 2 minutes left right here. So maybe your hands are on the floor, maybe your hands are on your thighs, maybe you have your hands wrapped around your legs. Maybe you just grabbed hold of your opposite elbow. Keep weight in your heels. Keeping weight in your heels and stretching your glutes back is going to help you find that length in your lower back and take the rounding out. 1 minute left right here. Now, if it feels good for you, you can keep your legs pretty straight. I enjoy the sensation. I find the best stretch when my legs are pretty straight, but if your legs are really tight, if the back of your legs, particularly your hamstrings, are really tight, you might really have a deep, generous bend in your knees here, almost like you're sitting in a chair. In fact, if you need to sit in a chair and just find a forward fold, if standing itself is too much, do it. You've just got a couple breaths left, but we're going to return to this posture in a moment. I want you to heel toe your feet out a little bit wider, maybe match with distance apart, and then turn your big toes out to a 45-degree angle. I'm bringing my block to the party. You can have it on the high side to make a super high squat, but we're going to lower ourselves down. Lower ourselves down. Sitting on the block, you can keep your hands on the floor, or you can lift yourself up. Lifting yourself up is going to increase the stretch that you're feeling. Maybe you're not even using a block today. Totally awesome. Whatever works for you. This is Yam. We get to use props. Makes it a lot easier to find this deep squat, to work towards getting those feet flat on the floor. Arm has been twitching all day. All right, just a couple breaths left right here. Then we're going to return hands to the floor and press up to one more dangle. Ready? On the exhale, bring your hands to the floor, lift your hips up, and then make sure that you turn your toes in. You can keep your feet wider if you want to on the second dangle. So work to keep some weight towards the heels, not just up on the balls of the feet. So heels are pressed down towards the floor. Relax your head. Take those extra wrinkles out of your neck. Remember, you can bend those knees to work towards that flatter back, or you could even walk your hands a little bit more forward. Think about being in a extended tabletop or a very modified down dog. Just getting a forward hinge, so belly should be gently drawn in. This is also a great posture after a big meal. I love a good dangle with the belly pressed against the thighs to help to relieve any sort of extra gas. Yoga is all about feeling good. Sometimes, yes, letting it go feels so good, especially if you're alone. One minute left right here in this dangle. Relax that lower back as much as you can. Keep that draw in of your belly button towards your spine though. So the front core is engaged while the back is relaxing. Take your last 3 breaths right here. And on this last breath, start to heel toe those feet out a little bit wider. Turn your toes out to a 45-degree angle. Sit yourself down carefully. Come on into your squat. I'm going to lift my head up. Because it feels good. We're going to stay in this squat for a little bit longer. Last one was just 1 minute. This time we're here for 2 minutes. Remember, you can always sit on a chair. If this squat is completely not working for you, sit your glutes all the way in on the floor and then just work to draw your knees up towards your chest with your feet planted. Similar to how you would be at the top point of a sit-up. You can do stump as another option. All right, so find this stillness, not just in the lower half of your body, find stillness in the upper half of your body. Remember, if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. And this might be a little uncomfortable, but if it moves from being uncomfortable to painful, gently come out. Remember, you can sit on the floor and just draw those knees to your chest while sitting on your sit bones in stump. 1 minute left right here. Take your time, carefully release your hands back down to the floor. Go ahead, bring your knees down towards the floor. We're going to come into a child's pose, but we're going to come into, if we can, a tadpole version of child's pose. So really open those knees wide, and instead of just sending your hips back towards your heels, think about bringing your hips in line with your knees and then, that's a bad description. Instead of just sending your hips back towards your heels, think about opening those legs a little bit wider so that your inner thighs are pressed down towards the floor. And you might find that you need, you might find you need a block. So we still do have those glutes back towards our heels for this first one. I'm sorry, I got a little confuddled with this and our next posture. So we're in this tadpole / child's pose, just legs are a little bit wider than they might usually be. But glutes are still towards the heels. We're going to be here for 1 more minute. Next, we're going to move into half or full frog. So definitely think about bringing a block or a prop that you can place under your belly. We're going to bring those hips forward in line with the knees. And you can open those knees nice and wide, and you can take it a little easier on yourself by keeping your heels in towards each other. Or you can try and bring those legs out and turn your feet out. To come into frog. We're here for 2.5 more minutes. I'm gonna go for half frog. Because I ain't got nothing to prove to nobody. And half frog is still pretty challenging, not gonna lie. If it gets to be too overwhelming or too much, work towards just gently coming out. I find it easiest to come out of this posture by coming forward. Last couple of breaths right here. All right, take the pressure out of sending your glutes towards your heels. Either wiggle yourself forward or one leg back at a time. Move this prop away from your belly. Take a moment, relax your head down to the floor. Bend your knees, windshield wipe your legs. Oh my. Let's go ahead and press ourselves up, sit ourselves up for a moment. We were going to do a sleeping swan, but I think that we should just do a seated pigeon. Let's be cool. Give ourselves a little massage here, pressure in the butt. All right, walk your hands back behind you. Feel free to take a moment to windshield wipe your knees or find a little shake through your shoulders. Go ahead, keep your left foot planted on the floor. Cross your right leg over your left and make sure that you're not crossed at the ankles. If you're really having trouble here, you can always lay down on your back and do this inner recline position. Otherwise, start to walk yourself up just a little bit, still working to stretch that knee away from you. One minute left right here. Carefully start to walk your hands back, uncross your legs. Take a moment, lower yourself all the way down onto your back. Draw your knees towards your chest. Give yourself some circles with your knees, first in one direction. Still keeping that lower back sacrum down on the floor. Then in the opposite direction. Alright, let's rock ourselves back up or roll over, press yourself back up. Just come back to that seated position. Bring your hands behind you. Once again, let's get the opposite leg. Go ahead, cross it over. Make sure that you're not applying pressure at the ankle bone, and then walk yourself in. Remember, you can always lay down on your back and do the same stretch on your back. Both sides of the body are not the same, so do what feels right. For this side of the body, we're going to enjoy 2 minutes right here. Start to gently walk your hands back. This time we're going to roll over. Bring your hands, palms to the floor. Go ahead. Come into tabletop. Tuck your toes under. Send your hips up towards the ceiling. And come into down dog. Stretch your glutes towards the back of the room. Pedal through your heels. Get that big stretch through your calves. Work to really lengthen that tailbone. So instead of keeping the weight forward towards your shoulders, as if you're bringing your belly button towards your thighs. Biceps are in line by your ears. You can sway your hips gently right and left, right and left. Keep your left foot planted on the floor. Inhale your right leg up and forward. And then bring it forward. Plant it down. It's okay if it takes a couple times to wiggle it forward to get it down. Walk your left leg back. Bring that down, and we're going to come into a low lunge. We're just going to be in this low lunge for a minute. However, if it's too low for you, feel free to use your props. Use a block. Oh, friend. I promise you, especially when I first started yoga, and someone would be like, lift your leg up, and then bring it through into a lunge. I would bring it through, and then I'd have to like bring it up and up and up and up and up and up, and then I'd finally be in the lunge. But it takes time. We're going to go from this low lunge into a moment. We're going to come into high flying dragon, where we're just going to lift ourselves up and transfer the weight of our hands on the floor to gently place our hands on top of our right thigh. Ready? You can do one hand at a time. Lift yourself up. And then notice if you shifted back a lot, see if you can shift forward just a little bit. You might need to shorten or adjust your stance. Maybe that back leg comes in just a little bit as a little more of I don't know, a balancing thing. Is there a name for that? Can't think of it. We're here for 2 minutes. So even if you really do narrow your step big time, just make sure that your knee isn't going past your toes. So I can still get a great stretch in my quad here in the hip without being really far forward, and it's less pressure on the knee as well. If you need to, you can always fold that mat up. We still have just over a minute right here. Either just kneeling or a little bit more in a lunge in your high-flying dragon, however works for you today. There's a squeeze of your bent knee that's on the floor's glutes and a press forward of the hips no matter what. Last minute right here. Find that stillness. All right, let's come on back down into that down dog. So bring your hands back down towards the floor. Tuck your back toe under, straighten that leg, modified plank. Step back into a full plank. Send your hips back up towards the ceiling. Take a moment here. Pedal through your heels. Walk the dog, getting a big stretch into our shoulders. If you need to, shift the weight gently forward and backward. Go from being in a plank into the best version of down dog that you can be in. Hold on while I tuck my shirt in. We got 30 more seconds right here. Enjoy it or be challenged by it. As long as you're feeling something, oh yeah, feels good. Hopefully is what you said too. All right, this time we're going to do the opposite leg. Oh, yes. Feels so good through the back of those legs. Go ahead, plant your right foot down. Inhale that left leg up towards the ceiling. Enjoy your delightful standing split. And then shift the weight forward like you're coming into a plank. And draw your left leg forward. Plant your right knee down on the floor and just hang out right here. Take a moment to square those hips forward again though. So notice if you're really starting to rotate out towards the side, it's okay if that knee starts to fall heavy out towards the side. But work to get those two hips in one line. We've got just under a minute left right here. All right, let's go ahead and bring ourselves up into high flying dragon. So transfer those hands onto your thigh. Find a squeeze of your back leg glute and a press forward of those hips. Remember, you can shorten your stance big time if you need to. Just make sure that you don't shorten your stance so much that your knees go past your toe. And remember, both sides of the body are different, so find what feels good for this side. Hips are just squared with the rest of you. I'm a little crooked on my mat, so that's why it looks like I'm open into the side. But do your best not to open to the side. Just breathe through it. coming into our last minute right here. I encourage you to find something that you can hold. So make sure that you're not coming in and out and in and out. Find that one space that you can be with, that squeeze of the back glute, opening that back hip, that quad big time. Take your time, bring your hands back to the floor. Once again, start to tuck that back toe under, untuck your back knee so you're in a half plank. Wiggle, walk, step your left leg back so you're in a full plank. Release your knees down towards the floor. Send your hips all the way back towards your heels. Let's enjoy some regular child's pose. Good old child's pose. You can have your arms extended as far forward as feels right for your body today. Feel free to take a generous bend. Feel free to use props. 2 minutes right here. All right, walk those hands in. Press yourself up into tabletop. Take your time, shift yourself down onto the floor. Go ahead, lay down on your back. You might want to bring your block with you. We're going to go for a bent knee spine twist on each side and then final savasana. So go ahead, extend your arms out to the side. Take a bend of your right leg. Keep your left leg straight as it is. You might want to bring your block to the opposite side of the body. And use your opposite hand to help keep that leg bent, arm extended, as you roll to the side for a bent knee spine twist. Maybe you want to place a block on the floor or between your legs. Work to keep both shoulders on the floor as you can. Continue to find your breath. You don't have to keep applying the gentle pressure of your hand on the outside of your thigh, especially if you really do feel that big stretch through your glute as well. If you're super tight, you're going to feel it no matter what. If you're feeling pretty open, Applying a little bit of pressure on top is going to help. Take your time, be mindful if you did use a prop to remove it, carefully roll over onto your back again. Find some grounding through your feet as you switch out your legs. Extend the arm out to the side of the leg that you now have bent. Use your opposite hand to help you find a little bit of pressure here in your spine twist on the opposite side. Take your time. Once again, mindful of any props in use. Slowly, carefully roll yourself onto your back again. Hopefully you've already noticed your breath starting to relax. You have one more opportunity to slow it down here together. And your final Savasana. So go ahead, extend your legs as much as feels right for you. If you need to take a bend in your knees and tent them, if your back is still feeling a little sore, go for it. You can open your arms as wide as feels right for you. Be sure to relax as much of the back of your head, neck, shoulders, upper, mid, and lower back on the floor as you can. Take the tension out of your belly and your glutes, your jaw, your eyebrows, your fists, your toes, wherever it is that you might be squeezing when you're feeling stressed. Just check in one more time. Send your exhale, send some love into those places. Connect your body and your mind with your breath once more. enjoy these delightfully open hips. May the space in the body translate to the space in your mind and help to lift your mood as intended. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that I've said or we did today, please reach out. Definitely take the time to check out the schedule. In the future, this class will always be in yoga. So I'll just bring a little extra to you today and moving forward. New group exercise schedule takes effect on Monday. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Remember to think good thoughts, speak good words, eat good foods, do good deeds. Take the time to nourish yourself from the inside out. Stay here in this final Savasana for as long as feels good for you. And when you're ready to move on with the rest of your day, I hope you enjoy it. Thanks again for coming. Namaste.